Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Rain Whalen. I couldn't think of a bit fast enough. And I also realized I didn't introduce myself last week. So
Oops.
I figured probably should go ahead and do that.
Sorry if you hear that. That's my dog. I've never had a dog before. And now I'm getting used to having one barking.
I'm assuming y'all are crate training her right now.
Yeah, she is in the crate at the moment. She is a not itty bitty anymore, but she's a very young golden retriever. She's I don't know how old she is. Couple months, 3 months, 3.5 months, something like that. Young, so getting used to that, which is fine.
Yeah, crate training is the worst. I grew up with dogs, and yeah, it's the worst. Mainly for me as an animal lover, because I hear an animal whining, it's like, well, I want to take them out, but you can't. You got to get them used to being in the crate,
Yeah.
So, buddy, you told me off mic that you had some things you wanted to talk about.
2 things. 1.
Okay.
I started listening to this book, and it's amazing. Okay. Let me get the guy's name right. And it's become quite popular at the moment. Because it just won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction. Okay.
Oh shit.
It's called Angel Down. It is, I think, one of the first horror novels to ever win the Pulitzer Prize. And it's by Daniel Kraus. It takes place during World War I. It's the deadliest battle for American soldiers during World War I. And this group of soldiers are tasked to find this fallen soldier, they assume, because it won't stop wailing, right? All they hear is this wailing and crying. And it's so loud. And they need to go find him, and they need to put him out of his misery, and then they'll move on, right? And when they get there, they realized that it is an angel that has been blown out of the sky during the battle. Okay. So here's the kick, right? Not only is it like a horror novel, basically, right? But it's told in one run-on sentence. So there are no periods, right? And, that sounds really daunting, and I bet it is when you're reading it physically, like looking at it. But listening to it, you kind of get over it after, like, a few minutes. It's just if you know what you're looking for or what you're hearing for, then you start to notice it. Like, every paragraph starts with and there are no periods. There's still dialogue. There's still like typical things that you would find in a novel, right? There's just no periods. So I mean, it's just like a one complete run-on sentence, which is crazy. Right. There's a couple of books that have done it before, apparently. But this one, he's not doing it for like spectacle. He's not doing it for like some sort of like, hey, look at me, look what I can do. It really is like to put yourself in the mindset of someone who is sort of shell-shocked and, frantically thinking and having to take in their surroundings and, just be on guard all the time, right? It's awesome so far. So, really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a local bookstore here that Ashley and I like going to, and I saw a horror book they had. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but it's medieval horror.
Oh, interesting.
And I read the synopsis and I was like, okay, I'd be down, but I didn't get the book, mainly because I'm currently listening to a high fantasy book. It's called Between Two Fires.
Oh, I've heard of that.
I literally just searched medieval horror book and it came right up. I definitely want to check it out. But I'm currently listening to / reading a high fantasy book called Throne of Glass. So
Cool.
yeah. So what was the other thing? You said you had 2 things.
I finally saw Project Hail Mary.
Oh shit! Was it good?
So good. I loved it, man. It was awesome. If you're a fan of the book, you're still going to be a big fan of the movie. I promise.
I've heard that because it's oh, fuck, it's the guys who did 21 Jump Street, right?
It's Phil Lord
and Chris Miller.
Yes, and then
Yeah, I was trying to
Drew
remember.
Goddard wrote the screenplay. Drew Goddard, those of you who don't know, he created Netflix's Daredevil and High Potential, the American remake of High Potential. And I think he may have also, I think he wrote The Martian also, the screenplay. So he and Andy Weir are close.
That's crazy.
So as
I heard the book is,
as a huge fan of the book is incredible. The movie is just as good. I really enjoyed the book. I mean, the movie. There's a few things that are different, and of course they're cutting a lot because I will say that it's not as, there's a little bit of it, but it's not as technical problem solving as The Martian is. The Martian is very much like solving a problem, encountering a problem, solving the problem, encountering a problem, right? This one is kind of like that. It's a little bit different. It's not as much of that. Which the book is that, by the way. It is still encountering a problem and solving a problem, right?
Right.
I guess it's just how he writes. I don't know. I kind of want to see if Artemis is any good. It's a little bit different than his other stuff, but we'll see. But fucking Ryan Gosling's amazing. Yeah, it's just great, you know?
Yeah.
Sandra Hewler, also amazing.
Yeah, Mom, which is another reason why this episode's coming out late. My mom came into town kind of last minute and wanted to spend some time with her. So we delayed the episode. Everyone's sorry. But she was telling me about it. She was like, have y'all seen it yet? And I was like, no, not yet. And she was like, I would highly recommend it. I'm like, well, we want to see it. Like, we really want to see it. But I'm going to be honest, on principle, I'm not renting it or buying it digitally just because, like, one, I could buy it physically, and two, like, if I'm going to watch it digitally, I'm kind of the mind, I'll just wait till it's on streaming, which I hate that mindset.
Right.
But we missed the theatrical release, so
I know,
me
too.
I'm like, I'm not going to spend money to rent it when it will eventually be on a streaming platform.
I get it. It'll be on Amazon. It's an Amazon movie, so.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure it'll be on Amazon soon, but but Mom, everyone has told me, like, oh my god, it's so good.
It's so good. I love it. I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I did. They completely stuck the landing. It's amazing. Also, huge news for people like us. The physical release of Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair was announced today. So we'll be getting a physical release in August, I think, or it's in July or August. So that's really exciting. So.
Did you know? Speaking of that, sidebar, Quentin got with Uma Thurman and did a story that kind of fits into the Kill Bill universe a little bit, called Yuki's Revenge. Apparently it was a part of the script that got cut. And I guess for the release they did it. They unfortunately did it in a way that I was like, why? It was a partnership with Fortnite, so it was animated like Fortnite.
Weird.
Yeah, but it is Uma Thurman, and apparently Quentin oversaw the entire thing, so it's on YouTube for free. I think it's called Yuki's Revenge, and it's like 10 minutes.
So I will also say Lionsgate is releasing it on VHS as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, so you have a VCR that works, you know?
Yeah.
My last one.
speaking of movies seeing in the theaters, Ashley and I saw The Mandalorian and
Oh
Grogu
yeah.
over the weekend. We really enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's essentially just one long episode of the show. Apparently, as I learned, it was written as a fourth season until it was kind of pivoted into a movie. So there's a lot that they cut out
Mm.
for the pacing. But Ashley and I really enjoyed it. I mean, you don't need to see anything to have context, although I would still recommend for anyone out there, watch the first 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, or at least season 1 to get some
I would say
context.
just the first 2.
Yeah, season 3's fine. Season 1, season 2 rip.
Yeah.
But the movie, I really enjoyed the movie. I mean, and Pedro Pascal did something really cool. He made sure his stunt doubles were credited underneath him.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That he had them top billing with him. So that's really cool.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed a good chunk of it. I mean, my only complaint, and if this is my only complaint, then I think Filoni and Favreau did such a great job. It drives me up the wall that we know the Mandalorian's name. We know his name is Din Djarin. He never tells people his name, and I get it. He's supposed to be the man with no name. He's not going to tell people his name. I get it. But also, hearing people call him Mando, oh my God. I'm like, he has a name. Just tell them your name.
Wow. That was driving you crazy?
That was driving me crazy.
Okay.
And like I said, if that's the only thing, then I think they stuck the landing pretty
We're
well.
super different because that wouldn't bother me.
Well, see, in the show, it didn't bother me. It was just the movie. I don't know why it was bothering me. I was like, what? Just say your name.
I'll tell you what. I agree with the author, Jason Pargin. Or Pargin, however you want to say it. He wrote John dies at the end, and I'm starting to worry about this black box of doom and a whole bunch of other stuff. He makes these incredible videos on Instagram and TikTok and all these things, and they're never about every once in a while he'll promote his book if he's having a new one out or whatever, but really he just likes throwing out interesting things about the world, right? And one of them was he's really angry that The Mandalorian is set up to be a show that has 200 episodes. For the first 2 seasons, that's what the show is. The show is you're in the Star Wars universe, right? Mm-hmm. But you have this formula that is built for comfort watching and for endless opportunities, which is Mandalorian travels to a new place, needs something, right? Is willing to barter for that thing to do a favor, does the favor, gets the thing, moves on, right? It could be Gunsmoke. It could be Have Gun Will Travel. Have Gun Will Travel fucking 200 something episodes. Gunsmoke had 700 episodes. I am also upset because that's what I thought the show was going to be. When the first 2 seasons, were on, I was like, yo, this is fucking rad. I could watch this forever, And then they stuck it in the world too much, and then that's all it became, and then it's I'm over it. I don't care. I don't care about this stupid black lightsaber. Who fucking cares? I want him to just go to planet, whatever, town to town, guest star of the week, monster of the week, don't care. I loved that. And they could have done it because they had the volume, and it would have been so inexpensive for them to just do this, and they didn't. So,
I get your complaint.
Yeah,
I think the reason why they didn't is just because I think somewhere they want to fill in that gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So it's like, hey, what was going on during that time?
Yeah.
Because all the shows, apart from Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi, all take place along the same time. So Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew. I was like, there's one I'm missing one. They're all happening at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
But I get your complaint.
Like my thing is, don't bait and switch me. Don't say this is what it is and then it isn't, right? Because those first 2 seasons are so killer, and then after that,
well, and I think I think you'll like the movie because they cut a lot of the Empire stuff out. Like the opening minutes, yeah, he's dealing with that, but like they cut a lot of that out.
Mm-hmm.
They cut out a lot of the stuff that I guess was going to be in the 4th season. I guess to make it more streamlined and a little bit more palatable for people who hadn't seen the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoyed it.
Good.
I mean, being a staunch Star Wars fan, any new Star Wars thing I'm going to be on board with, especially because this is our first Star Wars movie in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, like I'm gonna. I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd.
Whoa, you're the only person.
I really enjoyed it. Now, don't get me wrong; it makes me sad that they're barely making back their. Actually, I don't think they've made back their budget yet. I think it's still a loss for Disney, which scares me because I'm worried now. Well, no, I'm worried now Disney's going to use this as an excuse to be like, well, no more Star Wars movies. We're done with that.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that you're one of the only few that want more stuff like this. I think that it's starting to get stale. It's starting to get. We'll get to the movie in a second, but I think my last thing was, and it has to do with The Mandalorian, and it's the problem that I think most of these shows have, is if I cared about the story, right? If I didn't want it to be this serialized, episodic, formulaic procedural, which is what I wanted. If I wanted to care about the story, I have to watch this boring ass Boba Fett show, just to fill in a gap, with the show that I like.
No.
And you know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with these things.
I will be honest, that was my, even though I liked the Book of Boba Fett, that was my one complaint. I'm like, why is he even here? This is called the Book of Boba Fett. What are we doing?
Yeah.
But anyway,
right.
Moving on. All that to say, I enjoyed the movie. Good. Our first movie in theaters in 6 months.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that was awesome. And it was at the new Synergy, which used to be the old Regal, which was a little surreal.
I bet.
Because we walked in and I was like, everything looks vaguely similar, but a little bit different. But anyway,
I mean, I have a lifetime of memories there because it used to be Hollywood Theater, right?
Yeah.
The Hollywood 14. Yep. And then it was Regal, and I guess now it's Synergy.
Regal.
Oh man, that's
crazy. Next time y'all come to town, maybe you and I will see a movie there, and you could be like, "What the hell?"
Oh man, I don't know what I'd do. I'd lose my mind. Maybe start to cry. We'll see. Yeah,
we're ordering our food, and I'm like, yeah, like let me have those chicken tendies and like whatever my homeboy wants, and you're just like, and they're like, is he okay? I'm like, yeah, no, he's fine.
He's fine. He's remembering the arcade he used to have upstairs. Anyway, if you'll just if you don't mind.
And then through tears, you're like, I'll also have the chicken tenders.
I want some Twizzlers, please.
And they're like, yeah, okay. Well, with that being said,
yeah. So
Jeremy, what are we talking about today?
All right, so today we are discussing Adam Elliott's 2009 coming-of-age dramedy, Mary and Max.
So, dude, Ashley watched about half of this with me. She came in she came in the middle of the movie and watched the rest of it with
Just watch the
me.
second half. Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, she was like, "Oh, this is the movie y'all are watching." I'm like, "Yeah." And and when it starts to take that really big dramatic dive, she was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "I did not know this was going to go this way." Like, I swear to God. Um, but dude, I gotta say, man, um, I want to know where this movie's been all my life.
Yeah.
Like, this
Yeah.
was so great.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've asked you, and I think you said it in last week's tease. So how did you come across this movie?
I don't remember. I remember. I remember seeing, like, I recognized it. Like, whenever
Uh-huh.
it was finally time for me to watch it, I recognized it. So I knew of it. I had seen maybe the poster art or clips or stills from it or whatever. Um, and um, and I don't know why I never gave it a try before then. I can't even tell you. I mean, I remember how it feels to watch it for the first time, but I don't remember when that was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at first I was like, okay, this is, funny, it's quirky, it's different, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
little crude, it's very honest and earnest, and it's, it could be fun. Um, and then by the time it ends, you're like, I'm a mess,
Yeah.
Um, I couldn't believe just how emotional I got. I couldn't believe just the power of the storytelling and how a movie that starts off sort of quirky and weird and fun ends up being just so profound and so powerful in its messaging, and just really sticks the landing
Mm-hmm.
um, with the conclusion of the story of these unlikely friends, and um, it's unreal. And I like stories like this usually, like, just in general. Um, I remember, I haven't seen the movie, which is weird, but I loved the TV show About a Boy. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I just like that this it's an unlikely friendship, and
Mm-hmm.
they are friends and they're loyal to one another, and they like it's weird, but it's fun and it's sweet, and I really liked it. I just like I guess I just like friendships. I also really love, like, found family stuff, which is sort of
Uh-huh.
um adjacent to that. Um but yeah, I couldn't believe it. I loved the stop motion, right?
Yeah.
Um I love the color palette of each place. Melbourne is sort of sepia, where New York is black and white. And I like that when they intersect, wherever it comes from keeps its color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or keeps its color palette, which I really liked. Um, there's some visual storytelling happening with the color, like with Mary's barrette and Max's pom pom. Um, the pom pom, of course, representing, like, the only brightness in his life, basically, is Mary, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful story. It's semi-autobiographical. Adam Elliot had been writing to his pen pal for over 20 years when he made this movie. Um, and I assume it's a pretty decent age gap also. Um,
Yeah.
it didn't say, but I assume so. Um, I don't know. I just like the matter of factness of it, the earnestness of the film, of its characters, and the attributes of each character to just fully accept the other, just no matter what. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there is no, besides Max, there really is no pushback from Mary at all. Um, which I appreciate. I don't, this movie didn't have to go down the this is kind of weird sort of territory. Like, that's unnecessary, because that's not the point. The point is of finding someone who accepts you, finding a friendship, um, and finding the one person that will always be there for you and always care for you no matter what, right? even in the most unlikely place, which is, you know, a pen pal on the other side of the world.
Mhm.
Um, okay, quick synopsis.
Yes.
So, Mary is an 8-year-old living in Melbourne, Australia in 1976. Her home life isn't amazing. She doesn't have she doesn't have any friends. Her dad works all the time and is reclusive at home when he's there. Her mom is an alcoholic and um, neglectful to a point where it's just enough to keep Mary alive, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, and she decides one day to um, go through a phone book in her local library. It was a New York phone book, and she decides to write a random person, and that random person is Max Horowitz. Max Horowitz is in his 40s. He is 44, living in New York City. He is an obese, neurodivergent loner who also does not have any friends, and lives a pretty strict routine lifestyle. When he receives this letter, a friendship blossoms almost instantaneously, and they start writing each other. And this goes on for years and years. Um, Phases in their life go by. Mary goes to college. Mary meets a boy. Mary writes a book. Um, Max Max wins the lottery. Max gets brought up on manslaughter charges. Max goes to a mental institution. Um, Max gets diagnosed with a new term called Asperger's syndrome. And Mary goes to college for abnormal psychology. She writes a book about Asperger's syndrome, and I would assume the autistic spectrum, or the beginnings of the emergence of the autism spectrum. And she uses Max as a case study. He gets very angry at this and ceases contact with Mary. Mary then goes into a drunken stupor as she becomes exactly like her mother, and her husband leaves her for his pen pal, a man on a sheep farm. Um, Max finally forgives Mary. Mary has a baby. Mary goes to visit Max. The day she visits, Max had died that morning. Um, and when she looks up at the ceiling, as he was looking up when he died, she sees every single one of her letters laminated and affixed to the ceiling. So Max can look at them every day. And that's essentially Mary.
Yeah. I when we of course, whenever we do an episode, I know I've talked about this before on the show. Whenever we do an episode, um, before the movie, I do a little bit of research just to like kind of get an understand. Afterwards, I do a little bit more. Um, with this movie, I did no preliminary research. I didn't want to know
Yeah.
anything about it going into it, apart from what you told me. And when the movie started off, kind of like what you just said, it was very quirky, and I was like, okay, like cool, like because you told me that you picked some downers this season, and so I was like, okay, like maybe he was throwing me off. And I was sold from that opening score. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
let's
The score's great.
go. But then as the drama element of it starts to kind of come around, I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting us to be dealing with such complex issues in this kind of quirky movie about an 8-year-old writing to a 44-year-old across the world. But man, something about the quirkiness and the drama just plays so well with one another.
Yeah.
Like I felt like Adam Elliot wasn't, like he wasn't stretching the film too thin by having these humorous moments with these dramatic moments.
Right. No, not at all. I think, again, like writing these characters as so earnest and honest. And I think, making Max neurodivergent helps with the honesty, right? He doesn't believe in sugarcoating, or he doesn't know how to do that. Like
Right.
he wouldn't know how to gently explain anything, right?
Yeah.
But I think that makes him all the more endearing and so much more trustworthy, because again, he's never going to lie to you. He doesn't see the point of that, but he also is so aware of himself, how he fits in the world, how other people see him, right? He does understand these things, and if he doesn't, he understands that he doesn't, right? Which I really appreciated. Again, I think this is a really wonderful representation of neurodivergence. Max is not meant to be a punchline or a joke of any sort of kind. He is just an honest version of neurodivergence. And the fact that it's set in the late 70s, in the beginning, and of course watching it in a modern sense, you're like, wow, this guy's autistic. Obviously.
Yeah.
But I just love the way it unfolds, and I love that, Max is really just trying to fit in, and he's just it's just not working, right? Same with Mary. Mary tries her best. She wants to make friends. It's not like she's, she's not avoiding social interaction, right? She's trying. And you feel for him, like a lot of this sort of, it's hard with movies that deal with sort of teasing and bullying. Shocking, I was teased and bullied.
What?
I know. And so it's hard, because it's like, that sucks. I know exactly what that feels like, And I think even if you don't, right? I think some part of you will find something to latch onto. Because even if you weren't bullied in school, maybe there's been a time where you felt lonely. This is that, right? This is two very lonely people finding one another, and grasping on to this relationship and in this friendship, where like when there's times when like Max can't write back because he's in the mental institution. I feel terrible for Mary, because Mary's now not getting that interaction anymore. And it just fills me with so much anxiety and tension, because I want Mary to know that Max is okay. He's fine. He's getting a little bit of help, right? But you can't help that.
Yeah.
I just want them to be happy. And this movie's perfect. I can't sing its praises enough. I think Adam Elliot he's so good at this. Because again, like I said last week, Memoir of a Snail is the same. It's obviously a different story. But I don't know how he does it. It's the same. We're being introduced to this world. It's very quirky. It's weird. There are times when things are awkwardly inappropriate, or or crude, right? And then by the end, you're like crying your eyes out. Like, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what it is kind of what you've been saying. I think it's this relatability to the characters. I think what makes it this good is, um and having it be very matter of fact, because you're right. Anyone who's been bullied or made fun of can relate to Mary and her loneliness throughout her life. As we see when she goes to college, she's still being made fun of. People can relate to knowing someone who struggles with mental health or weight. And I think that's what makes it so engaging to watch, is that you can relate to that. Maybe not fully, uh, but somewhere I feel like you as the viewer can find something you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that's like. And again, and like you said, it's the matter of fact of everything, which I think also eases you into this. Because I found myself feeling very, again, at ease with all the decisions our characters are making, laughing a little bit with the things that Max says, like again, like you said, like he's not going to sugarcoat it because he doesn't know how. Like, I work at a condom store. I don't use condoms. Like, I don't know. I was just like, why would you say that to an 8-year-old? But then, of course, once we get the reveal that he has Asperger's, I'm like, that's why. Because he's just stating a fact. And in his mind, that's, I'm not being inappropriate. I'm just stating a fact.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's how Adam Elliot does it. I definitely want to check out Memoir of a Snail now. Ashley said she has seen clips of Memoir of a Snail on, like Instagram. And she's like, it looks really interesting. I'm like, well,
it's so good.
I'm like, maybe we should watch it now. Now I want to talk about, I love how Adam did the voice acting. Mm-hmm. I love that we don't really hear their voices throughout the entire movie, apart from them narrating what they're writing. I love that. It felt very much like, in a way, and I mean this in the best possible way, like an audiobook in a way.
In a way, like I'm a sucker for an omniscient narrator, right?
Yeah.
And because it makes it feel like a fairy tale. It makes it feel like a storybook sort of story. Which I really liked. Another great example of an omniscient narrator, that again, I don't know how well the movie's received these days, but the last 20 minutes of AI, it makes me cry. I mean, it is, it's so sad. The end of AI. But again, Ben Kingsley is the narrator for AI. He's the omniscient narrator. And it makes me feel like a storybook. Now, in that case, it is directly referencing fairy tales and that sort of style, because that goes with the theme of the movie. But in this case, it's just a clever way to get to know everybody. It's a clever way to get to know the world that they live in, the lives that they've led, so we can get as much context as we absolutely need, right? And then it's also just a good, I don't know, it's a really good framing device for this type of story. Like, I can't picture another way to do this movie besides this way, Because, like, I don't know, there's something, and I've talked about it before on the show, where, like in Ichumama Tambien, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
um, when the narrator says that they never saw each other again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like that gave me chills. Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it's so finite and it's so matter of fact, and it's just, it is what it is, right? Um, and I think with this, it's the same, but it also gives you so much freedom in the storytelling to say, like, um, you know, with her dad, for instance, after he retired, like he, after his like 4 millionth uh teabag string, you know, he finally got to retire. You know, it's like
Yeah.
little tidbits of information like that, um
Mm-hmm.
just create a fuller world for me. And
Yeah.
I just like it. I don't know, it just feels more comforting also. I don't know, I love the narration. And you're right, dialogue between characters is very few and far between, in the movie, because the story is being told basically by the narrator, or through their letters.
Mm-hmm.
Only a few times do characters talk to one another, um, but it never really dawned on me until you brought it up that
Yeah.
no one really talks to each other.
Now, I do want to mention this real quick about the narration. Um, People may have heard this person's voice 6 years prior. Barry Humphries voiced Bruce on Finding Nemo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. He also later on voices the Goblin King in The Hobbit: Unexpected Journey.
Mm.
But yeah, I really loved how, yeah, there's hardly any dialogue, you know. And what's crazy, as you mentioned in the tease, you know, we have Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Max, Tony Collette playing older Mary,
Mhm.
Eric Bana, like, you know, you expect to hear these voices throughout the entirety of the film, but we only really hear them, especially Tony Collette, when Mary gets older. And you know, and I love that they don't feel underutilized, you
Mhm.
know. You know, one, you know, person who maybe didn't like this movie could say that, like, oh well, they underutilized Philip Seymour Hoffman. I disagree. I don't think they underused anyone.
Yeah.
Even, like I said, even Tony Collette, who has less speaking lines than Eric Bana. I think something about having only getting to hear Philip Seymour Hoffman's voice when Max is writing, I don't know, it does something for me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Um.
So okay. Um I can't get over just Max. Max is my favorite character, right? In this movie. I relate so much to him. You know, like whenever he receives Mary's letter for the first time and he has that panic attack,
Uh
completely understand. Like it's something that is unexpected, throws off your routine, and requires a possible response, right?
huh. Mm-hmm.
I completely understand what that feels like. Um, it's scary, it's new, it's different. Um, like again, I relate to Max so much because I know what that feels like. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know what it feels like to when you're having to do something new and scary and requires effort or requires like some sort of response from you, and you having to put in the effort to do something
Mm-hmm.
in response. I mean, it's scary. Like I get it 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I sometimes a little bit of the same. Like if there's a letter in the mail addressed to me and I wasn't expecting it, yeah, I'm kind of like, what? But then I kind of quickly calm down once I see like, oh, it's
Well, it
trying
doesn't have to
to
be like a letter necessarily. It could be anything, right?
yeah.
Something that's, again, anything that throws off the routine that you've set for yourself and that you're comfortable with. Which I mean, I couldn't understand more of what that's like.
Yeah. But no, I kind of agree with you with Max, because Max is sort of an interesting character. Um, I love all his different animals that he has.
Yeah.
He's got snails, he's got a cat with one eye,
His
a
parakeet.
parrot,
Yep.
and then fish that keeps dying. Like I
Yeah.
think that's so funny. That like like I said, Ashley came in the middle, and the narrator's like, hearing about how Henry died this time. She kind of looked at me and I was like, his fish dies a lot. He gets a new fish like every other week.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. It made me chuckle when the fish jumps out the window trying to get the fly. That made me laugh because it felt it felt very kind of New York. Like,
sure.
Why is there a dead fish on the side of the road? And it's like, oh, probably fell out. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt very New York.
So, one, I think I'm remembering his name correctly. His imaginary friend, Mr. Ravioli.
Yeah.
I love the representation of him understanding that he doesn't need Mr. Ravioli anymore, but he doesn't just disappear. He's in the corner, like until he does disappear. But he's just there. But again, like I like that that representation of I know, like, I need to put this defense mechanism aside, but I'm still gonna like keep it close,
Yeah.
And I like that, he's trying to better himself by constantly reading self-help books.
Until he finally decides, it's time for me to go.
Yeah.
And walks out the window. Dude, that was so funny. And I love that you hear a crash in the background.
Yeah.
Implying that he did hit the ground or something. It's so good. Yeah, no, you're right. That also made me laugh. That like, yeah, Max acknowledges, I created an imaginary friend. I try not to use him, but he's still around.
Yeah, I mean, he's just in the corner. Not bother anybody. I don't bother him. He don't bother me. It's genius. Like, I wish I knew more about Adam Elliot. Just to like, he must like be neurodivergent or know someone who is neurodivergent. Again, because it's too spot on. For him not to have had any sort of interaction with himself or someone else. And again, like, this is semi-autobiographical. He himself has a pen pal, or had a pen pal, depending on, I mean, this movie it's not quite 20 years old, but we're getting there. And so, like, when this movie came out, he had been writing to his pen pal for over 20 years. I don't know what that looks like now. But I think it's so inspiring. Like, this movie inspires you to sort of give something a try, because of the possible benefits. Like when I saw this movie for the first time, I go, why have I never thought of this? Why have I never thought about just writing some random person? That sounds so interesting. it just seems so inspiring, and it seems so interesting, um, to put yourself out there and do something wild, and then it comes to this, Um,
I think I know why. To use a modern context,
go on.
specifically a 2026 um,
Yeah.
context, which is, you know, we have been so desensitized by the internet that, you know, trusting some rando
Yeah,
to not do anything weird once they have your name and address
it's a good point.
um, is probably why.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the movie came out in 2009. You know, the internet wasn't where it's at now.
Right.
Um, but I feel like in 2009, you probably could have done this with little to no repercussion. Um, I would say now it's hard to be like, ooh, like, is this person gonna, track me down?
Yeah.
Is this person gonna ask for a locket of my hair now? Like,
Right.
what's, you know?
But again,
Um,
I'm glad this movie didn't go that direction. I think it's just because
yeah, I agree.
Adam Elliot didn't have that experience, right?
Mhm.
He had a pleasant experience of finding just some random person that he talks to for over 20 years,
Mhm.
Um, however, um, again, it's semi-autobiographical because this has a conclusion.
Right.
And like it is one of the most bittersweet endings I've ever seen. Um, it is it really got to me. Like I was so overwhelmed with both sadness and joy, right?
Mhm.
And sort of a sense of I don't know, like it filled me um with just so much happiness in such a
Mhm.
sad um vulnerable way, because like when Mary finally gets there, and it's like you don't get that catharsis of them meeting for the first time in real life,
Mhm.
right? So they never really get to do that, um which is sort of bittersweet, right? That's sort of the sad part of it, because when she gets there, she's just hours too late. um but to see how much she meant to him, and how much
Mhm.
these letters helped him and inspired him, and how much he cared for her, and how much he cherished this friendship, right?
Mhm.
In a completely legitimate platonic way. Like
Yeah.
this was a just straightforward, unfiltered friendship. This was pure, right? And
Mhm.
and I think him being neurodivergent was a good choice for that, because
Mhm.
um like he's like, well, what else would it be? Right? Like it's
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
which again I very much appreciate, because it's so sweet. And when she looks up and she sees all the letters on the ceiling, I mean, it's just like you just want to bawl your eyes out,
Yeah.
because it's just so sweet. This movie is incredible, and I need people to see it. I need more people to see it, more people to talk about it. I'm so glad It's Just Cinema did that short video about Mary and Max, because again, like he said in that video, it is very wholesome, it is very sweet, and it packs a punch emotionally
Mhm.
that you're not expecting when you start it. Like her grandpa's talking about his nipples getting super hard jumping in the cold water. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's not that's semi, crass and crude. Um
Mhm.
Also, even the IMDb trivia is sort of funny, um because in the scene where I'm sure you read it, where Max is alone on the island, he's telling that story of his what his therapist is saying of him being on this island alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think the IMDb trivia said like it was lubricant. That's what they use for water. It was 2,400 teaspoons. It's like teaspoons. Why are we measuring things in teaspoons?
Why are we not measuring in gallons?
Yeah, I don't know how many gallons that is. I didn't look that up.
Wait, here.
It's probably
let's see,
not
hang on.
as impressive at sounding as 2,400 teaspoons of lubricant. I also liked that this movie is stop motion, and it's not trying not to be, meaning it's not trying to trick you into thinking it isn't.
It's a little over 3 gallons.
Say it's just 3. You could just say 3 gallons. But see, even the trivia is quirky, right? Because it's like,
did Adam Elliot write the trivia himself?
I'm sure he had to. At least that part.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, speaking of the animation, I loved how different it was. We've talked about quite a few stop motion films, and I feel like each one we do something else. We talk about something. Like when we did Anomalisa. Shout out to our Anomalisa episode. Their faces were 3D printed to make it easier to detach. When we did Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Pinocchio was the first fully 3D printed model. That way they can manipulate him easier because he's made of wood. He's not going to change. And then when we did, Fantastic Mr. Fox, how they animated their fur, I just appreciate that we keep doing different stop motion films that does something different with the medium. And I liked how all the people were designed, that they're disproportionate and Max's ears are like apart from his, I really liked how odd it all looked in the best possible way.
Yeah, Adam Elliot basically just 3D rendered cartoons. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Like as if he were to draw them on a piece of paper and then just like found a way to 3D mold them in clay. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I really like the character design. Again, Memoir of a Snail, his other short films, that they are the same. He has a very distinct style. And I just, I can't sing his praises enough. I think him and Don Hertzfeldt are two of the greatest storytellers in animation, or just in general, I would say, because It's Such a Beautiful Day is perfect, in such a unique way. And it is inspiring in its own unique way. And then, of course, Adam Elliot is also a genius at what he does in his storytelling, in the way he crafts and frames a story, and then down to his very unique character design and taking a personal approach to his storytelling. There's a short that he did called Brother, and I don't know if it's true, if this was autobiographical, but if it is, it's very sad. And it's just very earnest in the way that he's telling the story. Like, he's not sugarcoating anything. He's not like, it is what it is, right? This is what happened, right? And the way he's going to tell you is again very honest and very earnest and very matter of fact, but also he's going to frame it as, some sort of whimsy is going to take place, or some sort of quirkiness is going to take place, because he takes the people in his life, or the people that he has created in this world, and give them their own thing, give them their own quirk and their own unique identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like the neighbor across the street who has agoraphobia. Holy Jesus, the I love that she calls it homophobia, because to
Yeah.
her, he's afraid of leaving his home, you know?
Yeah.
And so to her, it's homophobia. It's just like, and it's not going to explain that to you. It's just like, you have to get there on your own, but you know, that's why she calls it that.
And then of course, once she gets older, she realizes it's
And
agoraphobia.
she corrects herself, but she never acknowledges that she got it wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just she's grown up. She knows the correct word now. She went to college. She knows what agoraphobia is, and you know, yeah, man, God, this movie's so good. Adam Elliott's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you're gonna rewatch it.
Oh, for sure. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really glad it's streaming on Hulu.
As of right,
I would love to find I'd love to find a physical copy, but I'm sure it's going to be almost impossible.
I don't remember when I got mine. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. But yeah, and I definitely want to check out Memoir of a Snail now.
Yes, you should.
Well, that being said, buddy, because it sounds like we're getting ready to wrap up.
Yeah. If I miss anything, I'm sorry to Zach. I'm sure Zach also loves this movie as much as I do. Usually, like when I watch something like this, like if I had known Zach then, I would have like texted him and I would have been like, "Hey, you need to see this immediately." You know.
Yeah.
Same thing with Ensemble. Like as soon as I finished it, I texted him. I said, "You're not going to believe this." You know. This is one of those movies that's sort of like, in a weird way, life-changing. Like when I saw it,
Yeah,
it changed my perspective on things. It, again, it was so inspiring. It was so, it's such a wonderful movie. Right.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's yeah. Again, I was not expecting the dramatic turn in the film. I thought it was really funny, but also very heartfelt and very cute. And yeah, man. And for only being an hour and a half long, yeah, it packs a punch. And yeah, I for sure am gonna rewatch it and pray I can find some sort of physical release. Yeah, man. I wish I would have seen this because I remember you brought it up in I think a bonus episode we did a couple seasons back. You brought it up, and
I think I remember. I think it's the Cats Don't Dance bonus episode.
I think so.
Where we ended up just talking about Cats Don't Dance.
About Cats Don't Dance, yeah.
And how that should win Best Picture, and it should.
Yeah, that should win Best Picture. And you know, and I made note of it. I like a mental note. I was like, you know, I should check that out. I never did, and I should have checked it out sooner than that. But you know what? Now that I have, now I can rewatch it whenever I want to.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, with that being said, buddy, would you like to hear about what we're talking about next week?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna be really excited.
I hope so.
I think you're gonna be real excited.
Can I just tell you? Some of these are hard. Some of these are hard to really sink my teeth into, you know?
Yeah, I know. I was really trying to make sure I see, because again, for everyone listening, I am strictly picking Disney movies.
Yeah.
One of my stipulations was it had to be a movie that I wanted to talk about. Also, for you as well, because I'm like, look, if I'm going to have a hard time, Jeremy's definitely going to have a hard time. Just because, you know, it's hard to glean meaning from a straightforward story. I keep using Cinderella as the example, so I'll switch to Sleeping Beauty.
Oh.
But like, I don't want to sit there and only do 5 minutes of like breakdown and an hour of us just shitting on this movie, you know, or just being like, yeah, I really like that.
Which you know, if I haven't said it before, I'll say it again. I don't like not liking things. So
yeah,
like, you know,
But this one, man, you're gonna be excited.
Okay.
So as we were talking about off mic, I need to pick a movie that's not animated, because yes, even though Chip and Dale was not technically fully animated and it had real people in it, but it still had cartoons in some way. And then we did this film, so I was like, okay, we need something with just real people.
Yeah, sure.
And then I said, fuck it, we're just gonna jump right to this one, because I had sort of an order,
Sure,
and like like a rough outline of my films, but I just said, fuck it, we're gonna go to this one. So next week we are going to be talking about the 2003
I already know. Go ahead.
yeah, the fantasy adventure, first ever PG-13 Disney movie, Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
This movie kicks ass. Okay.
This movie kicks so much ass. How upset would you have been if I was like, Alan Stranger Tides?
No.
The fourth movie.
Would have been a first watch for me. But so, okay, fun fact about Pirates of the Caribbean. It was the first movie I ever saw in the movies 3 times.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
Dude.
that movie just rocks so hard, dude. Like, I thought it was so cool. And it still is.
Dude, it's still, I think what makes, and we'll get into it, of course, next week, but I think what makes the first one specifically so good is Gore Verbinski and his team really took the elements of the ride to heart and really lean into a lot of those elements, especially, obviously, of course, the pirates.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I love his trilogy, the first 3, the ones that Gore Verbinski was directly involved with. I love all 3 of those.
All three are great.
However, 2 and 3 are very fantastical, and I think that's what makes this one so memorable, is the fantastical element kind of makes sense of cursed pirates,
Yeah, in a way. I think that you're right. The other 2 are definitely, like, to give it an example, I would say, even though it isn't like this, because it was meant to be, I think, more than one. It kind of feels like Back to the Future, because it's like you have Back to the Future, and then you have 2 and 3, which are connected, right? Almost directly, right? And that's how this one feels. 2 and 3 feel like back-to-back connected, especially with like Davy Jones and all that stuff. And then there's one sort of, sets the groundwork and whatever, does all the, the world building, and then you have 2 and 3. Which I love. I love 2 and 3. I like all 3. They're great. But yeah, man, that first one, dude, like, I remember my dad saying, like, it reminded him of, like, old, huge, epic, grand scale movies. Like, when you go to the movies and you could feel like it's huge, right? Like, this was a big deal. Like, this was an undertaking, right?
Oh, for sure.
And I think it's because, like, ships on the ocean. I mean, you're just like, that's a big deal, like.
Yeah. And especially in 2003, you couldn't fake that. You had to get ships out in the ocean, actual wooden ships out in the ocean.
Well, here's what's so crazy also about the first Pirates of the Caribbean is, like, when I think about it, I'm just like, oh man, that was so long ago. And then it's like, oh, Orlando Bloom had already done all
Lord of the
Rings movies.
Yeah.
By then.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And 2003.
Or he may have done them, like, maybe Return of the King and this one back to back, maybe. I don't know, but because they came out the same year, but it's like, that's crazy, It was like forever ago.
The Two Towers. Yeah, so Fellowship and Two Towers had already come out, and then this one and Return of the King came out at the same time.
Nuts.
So yeah, people kind of had known who he was, but I feel like with this one and Lord of the Rings, it just.
I know.
But yeah, man, I love this movie. Also, I think it kicks ass. It does not help my obsession with pirates. I do have some. Actually, I think it's why I have an unhealthy obsession with pirates.
I didn't know that.
Because yeah, man, this movie kicks ass, dude. This is also another one. I'm gonna go and just say it now. When we talk about the movie, I'm gonna bring up the ride.
That's okay.
Just because I love the ride too. The ride is so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I was like, you know what? Because originally, like I mentioned a while back, the next movie on my list was going to be Mary Poppins, which I can't wait to talk about too. But it does have one moment where there's animated cartoons, and I was just like, let's just nix cartoons altogether for right now. We'll come back to that when we're just going to do Johnny Depp stealing every fucking scene he's in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. So this is cool.
Cool.
Nice. That's
awesome.
exciting.
All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode on Mary and Max, and we'll see you next week for Pirates of the Caribbean.